haven't already couldn't tell. We are going to be live streamed, so everybody that dials into this thing on YouTube or watches on YouTube or the TV back here, you're going to hear everything that we do and say. Okay, just so you know. The other thing is we are now live, and so one more announcement that I want to make before we call the meeting to order is, if we can, if it's possible for the board members to wait till the end of the presentation to ask our questions, if it's possible. If it's not, just, you know, but that we won't everybody jumping out, because people on YouTube land won't be able to see what we're doing. Okay? So, all right. So with that being said, we are live, and I'm going to call the meeting to order for July 1st, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. And if you all join with the Pledge of Allegiance, Ron's going to lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, and if we can move into the adoption of this agenda.
Yes, Joe, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the agenda for the July 1st, 2020 as submitted.
Second.
Second, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. And so we will head right into our item number 2, which is presentation, Wickenburg Unified School District number 9, the reopening plan. And Dr. Remedini will lead us off.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board and community. Before I introduce the presenters for this item, I would like to provide some background information regarding this project. On June 15th, under the direction of former Superintendent Dr. Carlson and supported by me, a task force was formed to consider information and options regarding the reopening of our school campuses for the 2020-21 school year. The task force was co-led by Erin Johnson, Executive Director of Business Services, and Debbie Hodgkiss, Executive Director of Educational Services. Task force consisted of 35 individuals representing school and district leaders, a parent and teacher from each site, support staff, and community members. The task force was divided into 4 groups to analyze issues related to student learning, logistics of operation, cleaning and sanitizing, and school activities and athletics. Guidelines from the Center for Disease Control, the Arizona Department of Health Safety, the Arizona Department of Education, the Arizona Interscholastic Association, the Arizona School Risk Retention Trust, and our state and local government officials were considered by each group. The result of the work of the task force is a set of guidelines that, if approved by the governing board this evening, will be used in the development of specific school sites and department plans to address the details of operating schools while adhering to the requirements outlined in the sources listed before. The guidelines being presented tonight have been reviewed and approved by District Legal Counsel. The task force concluded its work for this project on June 26, 2020, with the expectation that all Wickenburg District schools develop and communicate plans specific enough to support in-person learning beginning on August 3rd. On Monday, June 29th, Governor Ducey issued an executive order delaying the start of in-person learning until August 17th. While the district considers its operations under this most recent order, we will continue to plan for our students to return to our campuses on August 17th. Details regarding student learning prior to August 17th are being considered and will be communicated to parents and the community as soon as possible. Now I'd like to turn this over to Ms. Johnson and Ms. Hodgkiss to review the guidelines for reopening schools.
Thank you, Dr. Remendini, President Malio, members of the board. We are committed to the health and safety and of our learning and our working environment and of our students and our staff and our communities. Our goal is to keep our schools open, and we feel we have the responsibility to keep routines as safe as possible while functioning as normal as possible. But this creates some challenges, such as ensuring learning remains enjoyable for students while implementing and enforcing new rules and procedures for health and the safety of everyone. We are following the guidelines of the Center of Disease Control, Arizona Department of Health and Safety, Arizona Department of Education, Arizona Interscholastic Association, and our local government officials, in addition to the guidance of the Arizona Risk Retention Trust and the district's legal counsel. The White House established phases for reopening. One of the guidelines recommends a set of numbers for group gatherings. At this moment, we are in phase 1, no group more than 10. Phase 2 also recommends no groups larger than 10 with a maximum of 50 for outdoors. Phase 3 recommends up to groups of 50 for indoor and outdoor gatherings. The COVID-19 pandemic presents health risks to our students and our staff, but the district is developing plans to minimize these risks as much as possible. We have begun collecting information from families regarding their preferences for student learning. As we finalize our plans at each site, we will ask parents to finalize their decisions as to which schooling option they want for this upcoming school year. At this time, the district offers 2 options for schools. We have Wickenburg Virtual Academy, which is our online academy for students in grade levels kindergarten through 12th grade. And we have our traditional schools, such as Wickenburg High School, Festival Foothills, Vulture Peak, and Hacienda. And these are our face-to-face classroom settings. So this plan is addressing our traditional schools. Each site will develop a site plan for managing the reopening, and these plans will address every aspect of the school operation, and they will align to district guidance. As this is a stressful situation for all involved, the students will have access to social and emotional learning support, and our district will ensure that our staff are aware of the resources that they have available for dealing with their own social and emotional health. So let's look at the guidelines that the task force has proposed. First, our families and staff will be educated on the signs and symptoms of COVID-19 and will be asked to stay home when sick. If a student has a chronic condition such as asthma or allergies which present a similar symptom as COVID, the family will need to inform the school so the chronic condition does not prevent a student from returning to their class. Again, we will be training our staff to recognize the signs and symptoms of COVID, and we will encourage our staff to take their own temperatures at home or in the health office and monitor their health. All staff will also be trained in how to visually screen students and will be given directions on where to send a student they believe is exhibiting symptoms. This brings us to cleaning and disinfecting. All students and staff will wash their hands frequently, including as they arrive at school, before and after lunch, after using the restroom, etc. Hand sanitizers will also be available in all classrooms and common areas to use. Training will be held regarding proper disinfection and cleaning, as there will be specific procedures to follow. All surfaces will be cleaned each evening by custodial staff, and then school staff will disinfect high traffic areas during the day, such as doorknobs. Face covering. We understand that this topic does present challenges. However, we are to follow the guidance of the various health and government agencies noted at the beginning of this presentation. This does include the current Maricopa County proclamation, which requires face coverings when social distancing is not feasible. This does not mean that students will be required to wear a face covering all day, but there may be times that they will, such as on a bus, when it is not possible to distance the students. We believe that volunteers are essential and will allow them on campus at each principal's discretion. Volunteers will be treated like staff and will need to follow all of the same requirements, such as frequent hand washing, self-health checks, and face covering when social distancing is not possible. At this time, we're not going to allow visitors on our campus, but we will revisit this in September. We love engaging with our families and communities, And typically, we host several events that bring them into our schools. But this year, we will be looking at virtual options for back-to-school night, parent-teacher conferences, and IUP meetings. In addition to academic programs, our students participate in several activities that include before and after school tutoring, clubs, athletics, fine arts, and CTE events. Activities will be allowed as long as certain guidelines are followed, such as social distancing, health checks, disinfecting, and the Arizona Interscholastic Association's guidelines for athletics. However, we are restricting traveling at this time. Transportation. Our bus routes will remain as is, as what they were this past year. We will not be making any changes to those. However, face coverings will be required on the bus if we are able to separate the children far enough. Buses will be cleaned and disinfected after each use. Drivers will do a visual check of the students as they enter the bus. If they do not appear well, then they will be taken to the health office upon arrival at school. Our restrooms, we will increase the disinfecting of those. Besides every evening, they will also be disinfected throughout the day multiple times. And we will limit the number of children that are in each bathroom to the number of stalls that are in the bathroom. Our water systems, we have water testing scheduled to be done during the month of July and to ensure that it is safe upon the return of both our students and our staff. And we are planning to have at least one refillable water station on each campus. Playgrounds and common areas. So our goal here is to maximize the space that we have. We want children to be outside. We want to encourage those activities and that behavior. We understand that, it may be a little bit difficult at times to have all of them on the play equipment, so we will schedule that. So each cohort or class will have time on the playground equipment, but slides and swings aren't all that's available outside. So we will encourage our staff to get creative and encourage things like Foursquare, jump rope, things like that that can be done without using the play equipment. We also would like to see that playground equipment be, or actually balls and bats and jump ropes and things like that be assigned to the various cohorts. So each class would have their own, tub of equipment that they could use that would be specific to them. It is a requirement that all staff and students wash their hands before entering the playground and coming in as well. Food service. Okay, well, we are looking to increase measures, safety measures, and social distancing to continue with our breakfast and lunch services. We do understand that the lunch service times may need to be extended in order to allow for social distancing, and we're going to continue to consult with our food management company, Southwest Foods, on best practices and what they might suggest so that we can remain in compliance with it. Arrival and dismissal. I have a lot here. My hand is handing it over to you. Let's see here. So all schools will clearly mark entry and exit points in order to avoid congestion and maintain social distancing, as well as specific directions for students when moving about campus. We may consider some bell schedule changes as well in order to lessen congestion at those busy times. Student belonging. We want all of our students to keep their belongings separate from one another, so not sharing your pencils and crayons and things like that. But we do understand that there will be some items that may need to be shared, and those will be disinfected after each use. Signs. We plan to have signs everywhere. And these signs will have clear reminders about hygiene, COVID symptoms, as well as we do want to have some markers on various ground areas to indicate what 6 feet apart looks like. Communication. We are committed to providing information in multiple ways to our community, to our staff, to our parents about this ongoing process and ever-changing process. We will have designated individuals at each site that will be a point of contact regarding COVID. We have established an email account as well for community members, staff, parents, students, board members to go ahead and submit any questions, clarifications, concerns that they might have, and we are monitoring that and reviewing that daily. Okay, we have given you a lot of information. The task force that we had put together with these subgroups did a lot of work. We appreciate their time. They were very thorough. And so if you have any questions, we are open to answering those. And we also have the facilitators from all of the subgroups on the line to fill in any gaps that we may not be able to.
Okay, keeping a little bit of order perhaps, maybe, Randy, do you have any questions you want to ask at this time?
I do. There was a lot of discussion about teaching staff, some students, some teachers, bus drivers, playground coordinators, about recognizing symptoms and stuff. How much in depth is the training, and who is going to be doing the training for all these individuals?
So the training will be provided when they return to school. And we have not identified the actual presenter of the training, but we will follow the guidelines that we've been given through our local health agencies. And we will give them all of the symptoms and signs, and then there will be very specific processes at each school. Every school is designed different as far as their health services department. We will have isolation for students who are exhibiting those, the signs of COVID until they can be picked up. And then there will be a cleaning protocol after that, in that area that student was at. So all of that training is being developed now and will be presented and ready for our staff when they return.
Yeah, I see a lot of responsibilities being placed on, other people, the things they aren't usually used to doing for that. And it was mentioned, the playground equipment, things like that. Nothing was really said about, is that cleaned after every use too?
Yes, we will have that cleaned, in between the groups.
And that's the coordinators or whoever else that was to.
That will be part of our maintenance and custodial staff will be handling that.
So that'll be ongoing throughout the day then, depending on how.
Right, and it will depend on, each school and, what their schedules are gonna end up looking like in their end plans.
Okay. Right, yeah, I know you did mention that, we're gonna talk with our food services, company about, making sure they follow our guidelines and everything we have put in place here. Do you expect them to present or give you some type of plan that they have?
They have, some of their own guidelines that have come through their company, such as, no salad bars, for example. That would be a communal, space that they would, many children would be handling, and so we're gonna eliminate those. But those conversations are ongoing. They're very open to working with us and what we want to see. But we, obviously need them on board. There's a financial aspect to this, and then there's also compliance. We're participating in the National School Lunch Program, so we have guidelines that we need to follow there as far as our reimbursable meals and the times that we can serve and get reimbursed for those.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Susan?
I have a list. I left it at home, so I had to rewrite it. And I talked to Dr. Amandini about most of this in our board prep. So I know some of the answers, but I also know that some parents are probably listening, and they probably want these same answers because it wasn't clearly discussed in the presentation. So thank you for everything you've done. I want to say that this is a lot to take in, I know, for everybody. And it's a really tough time right now for everybody. So my first question really is about an emergency action plan. I know that wasn't included at all in the presentation. And as a parent and as a board member, I want to understand what's going to happen if a student does become ill, because it's inevitable. They get sick regardless of if it's COVID or the flu or the tummy bug. What's going to be the protocol for that?
So the point of contact for Maricopa County Health Department is me. So I would be notified if the student became ill with symptoms. and then we would notify Maricopa Health Department, and then they would direct us as to what our next steps are. In my recent conversation, they talk about quarantining for 14 days, do notification and communication to all folks that needed to know about it, and then we would follow their next steps. So if it's a positive case or not, all of that changes the next step. But then most of the communication that I'm hearing is anyone who's in contact, there's a quarantine time, and testing is recommended.
So, example, Terrence is gonna be in first grade. Someone in his class has a fever, has to leave school, the entire class then potentially has to leave school.
We would follow the guidelines of Maricopa County Health Department.
Okay. All right. Number 2, personnel development, thank you. Number 2, when and how will you train parents and students before August 17th?
The training details are still being worked out.
Okay.
But we will provide, we're gonna provide it in as many modalities as we possibly can, written form, video form, any way we possibly can get the information out to our parents and our staff. That will be.
Okay. And I want to mention, I kind of think it's a little bit of a blessing that we're not starting on the 3rd, because during that virtual time frame, if there's contact with teachers and whatnot, that would be you might be able to get more involvement with the parents. So I just want to mention that. Site plan from each site, I know they're working on a lot of the details. I know it's a lot to figure out. Do we have sort of an estimated time frame where we, as board members and, staff families would kind of get a site plan to review?
Well, we have meetings scheduled beginning next week with each site administration to begin developing the details of those plans. Some of those are started, but now we need to work in the details based upon what this task force is recommending this evening. Dr. Medini, I don't know if you want to add anything more to that regarding the timeline goal?
Our goal was 2 weeks ago, but we're going to move as quickly as we can. The good thing is, as Ms. Johnson mentioned, our site administrators and leaders have already started working that, knowing that we would have to address this issue at some point. Now we have to come back and add the information that we now have, and based on the board's actions tonight, implement the guidelines, and then make sure that each stakeholder from the school sites are informed and involved and notified. Because a lot of what we've done up to this point at each school site has been a little bit in isolation, considering logistics, right? So how does my campus work? So now it's some fine tuning. What does this look like? What will school look like on my campus? So we took a step forward, we'll take a step back, and then we'll move forward with obviously plans ready to go before August 17th, with board notification as soon as they're finalized and community notification as soon as they're being added to this plan as we finalize it.
So I am going to assume that classroom protocol, what we should expect, will have to be finalized as part of the site plan. Is that?
Yeah, it's going to be different from what a kindergarten classroom looks like versus an 8th grade classroom looks like. And so each campus and each grade level is going to be unique.
Thank you. Regarding face coverings, because I know this is a big topic everywhere, and I'm sure, the site plans will give us a lot more information about what each classroom will look like. Will the administrators have the ability to modify the plans for face coverings as the county directives get modified?
At this time, face coverings are mandated when social distancing is not feasible.
Right.
So everything will be modified as we move through the pandemic, and we will reevaluate this. Constantly. Yeah, the guidelines change.
The guidelines change.
And last, certainly not least, I know class sizes is always the question. Phase 1 says a limit of 10. We already, struggle with 20-something in all grade levels. How do you have any ideas for how you might be able to minimize the class sizes and or allow for social distancing?
Yeah, so that's going to be part of the site plan again. We're also watching those parents who are interested in online learning, because that can also help guide us as to where our large or small sections are, and how to mitigate that within our school building.
Do you have any idea, I guess, is there a plan in place to sort of find out who's coming?
Right now, we have a pre-registration form on our website. We've notified parents that if they have any questions regarding Wickenburg Virtual Academy, that they can fill out that form. There's levels like I'm interested versus I'm ready to enroll. And if they're ready to enroll, we direct them to registration and get them registered. And then as many parents who are interested in Wickenburg Virtual Academy, we're reaching out to them and encouraging them to register, so we, on the brick and mortar side, can make better decisions based on the number of students we anticipate returning.
And then what about any like new people that might have moved here and have no idea what to do?
We'll get in contact with them as soon as we know about them, and we'll let them know.
I mean, should they be sent to somewhere?
Our website. Yep, absolutely.
Good idea. Thank you. That's everything. I know that was a lot. Thank you.
Great question.
Hi, Ron. Okay. One of the things, and I know like the sites are gonna be different, but, the cleaning part, and you say all surface will be cleaned at night, and the playground equipment is gonna be cleaned by our, custodial service, people. Do we have enough to take care of cleaning playground equipment during the day and other things during the day, and then clean all the stuff at night that has to be cleaned?
Well, it's going to be a joint effort, with some of our district staff as well. Like, so our office staff that is in those buildings, like I said, they will go around and wipe down door handles and those high-touch areas in order to assist. I am working with our director of maintenance on that. Right now, he feels that we have the correct amount of staff, but we are ready to add to that staff if needed. I don't know if you've seen at the grocery stores, they've got those, they almost look like a weed sprayer bottle with the spray on it. We'll be purchasing those to help clean some of like our playground equipment and some things like that, which will definitely speed up the time to do that. And we've also been, we have a contact at the hospital here that was a part of one of our subgroups that has recommended some various disinfectants for us to use that has a very quick time before it's, I don't know, effective, I guess is the right way to say it. Because there are different levels.
Sure.
So obviously the ones that, take longer to dry and all of that are less expensive. But on the flip side, that increases the amount of labor that we have. And so it's worth it to spend a little bit more and have some of those. So.
It was just a second, because I know, hiring night janitors and whatever, but,
Right.
like the high school where you have, all the different buildings there, how many night janitors do we have that's going to be cleaning all those surfaces?
Currently, we've got 2 night custodians and we have 1 day custodian.
Okay.
So, like I said, we're ready to add staff if needed to provide a healthy environment.
Okay, and kind of along the lines, it's in a slide later on from this, but the playground equipment and cleaning that, like Dr. Ramsey, now playground equipment is just inherently dirty anyway, but like a festival, that's out, that's public ground really. So is that going to be, I guess that'd be in their site plan, but be cleaned before use rather than just after each use?
That's going to be something that we're going to have to address with that campus. Like Debbie was saying earlier, every campus is a little bit different and has unique needs. And so that would be something I'm sure that Mrs. Case has been thinking about, and I'm sure she has.
Yeah, okay. You mentioned about the students wouldn't be wearing masks throughout the entire day, and then social distancing. And I guess my question is this, and you kind of answered it earlier, I guess, but the size of classroom space that we have, can we keep students 6 feet apart in a classroom? Just if they're in a desk, listening to the teacher doing their work. And is that feasible?
I think that it's going to be our goal. We don't want kids to sit in a desk all day with a mask on. That is not healthy. You know, if they're gonna be playing with it, it's gonna be a distraction. I mean, we've all had our masks on after so long, you get tired of it, and these are children. And so, we wanna be able to provide as normal of an atmosphere as we can. So again, the mask will be required when social distancing is not feasible, and we're gonna do our best to create as many situations as we can where they're not going to have the mask on.
Okay. All right. The sports thing is, I don't know, that's just gonna be something of a challenge, I think. And it just seems weird to me that we go through all of these, you know, procedures, and then, you know, they're talking about, you know, having football, you know, which they're not wearing masks. So anyway, I just find that kind of interesting, and if it's really feasible or not in the long run. Our buses, and, you know, I don't know, how full were our buses? Did we have full buses up to where there were 2 to 3 to a seat?
Yes.
Bus?
We do have some of our routes are at capacity. So we will look to see if we can reduce any of those or not. The struggle with that is finding drivers.
Mm-hmm.
We struggle to staff
Sure.
what we have currently.
Yep.
So that's why, you know, we would like the mask to be worn, obviously, on those buses, or we'll require the mask to be worn on those buses.
Yeah.
But we do have some routes that aren't at full capacity and could potentially be spaced out enough that the children would not have to wear the mask.
And I guess it wasn't so much just the fact that they'd have to wear masks, but, you know, are they crammed in, you know, shoulder to shoulder
Right.
in the seats,
Right.
seats there.
Well, and we do have a lot
Even
of.
though they have masks on it.
Yeah, and we do have a lot of siblings that ride the bus, so we would put those children
No, they're
together.
not gonna want to sit together.
Well, they're gonna have to now.
They come to school to get away from each other. Okay, but that's just one of the concerns I have about that, on the bus, is that,
Right.
you know, even though they have a mask on, you know, they may have it, you know, if they happen to have, you know, the germs, you know, on their clothes, and they're sitting shoulder to shoulder, then they're transferring it, you know, that way. And some people may be more susceptible than others. Yeah, I'd just like to see the list of hall monitors for counting, people in and out of the restrooms, you know, to equal stalls.
So I think there's some unique ways we can do that too, you know, I think that, you know, at an elementary level, a teacher can take the kids to the bathroom and send them in. You know, Debbie had some ideas at the middle school and high school level, so, those things have been thought about, you know, and also some of those older kids, if they understand the process and the procedure, and they walk in and see that they're full, then they can step back outside and wait, so.
Sure they will.
And the reality of the situation is we cannot control everything that's gonna happen. These are kids.
We're gonna set our process.
You can't control them at home, you're certainly not gonna be able to control them at school. I mean, I'm a good mom, but.
Yeah, okay. On, communication slide, you say we have designated individuals as site points of contact. So are they designated now, or they will be designated?
Currently, there are principals,
Okay,
but if they choose to delegate to someone else on their
Okay.
staff, that is fine, and that will be communicated.
good. Now, I have a couple other questions that wasn't specifically addressed in this, but it relates to opening, and some things that I thought about was, the teachers that are in the high-risk category. You know, how many do we have in that category? Do you have any idea?
I'm not sure how many we have, but we have sent out a survey to our teachers asking them, if they're comfortable returning to work.
Okay,
And one of the questions on there too is, do you have any health concerns that would prevent you from returning or make you cautious of returning to
Okay.
work? And we have not had that many. They
okay.
said no.
if I may add to that answer, we are following up with each of those individual staff members, and it wasn't just teachers, it was the entire staff, asking those questions, and then we are following up with them regarding their specific concerns, because we can't ask them to put in writing what if they have health concerns, and then we will follow our process. And the guidelines from the Families First Coronavirus Response Act provides for some leave time that might mitigate the situation and might get the staff member back on campus as quickly as possible. But there were not very many of them, and that process has just started this week with the follow-up to each of those individuals. They're getting a personal phone call.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I just thought about that. Oh, what's this? Okay, I guess that's all I have.
Have anything?
And I brought this up at the last meeting, one of the same question you had about the staff members who might have underlying health conditions. What about the children that might have underlying health conditions? Are we gonna recommend that they do not come to school?
We'll have that conversation with the parent. If we know of the underlying health condition, we will make sure that the family understands what their options are for, between online school versus brick and mortar.
Okay, and I realize, you know, in here, it just talks about the virtual academy, but that was because we felt we were all coming back on the 3rd. That was the 17th, but we're gonna start school on the 3rd. So, the virtual academy, even though it's K through 8, K-12, sorry, thank you. K-12, are we really equipped if, say, half the school wanted to do the virtual academy?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, and is it going to involve giving out Chromebooks again and making sure they had Wi-Fi and?
And we are already, we've already started the plan for how are we going to distribute, computers to our students. So, the saga continues with Chromebooks.
Okay, if I'm, my mind
Yep.
rolls around here.
Yeah, they're already, they assembled the carts, the Chromebook carts, to get everything ready for the classroom, and now we're assembling to get them ready for home.
Okay, because I know when, at the end of the year, each teacher was responsible for teaching that class. So it's not going to be that the child could zoom into that teacher teaching that classroom. They're going to actually be with the virtual academy. No. Okay.
The virtual academy is for, Wickenburg Virtual Academy are for the students that choose to be online. Okay?
Okay.
For students who choose the traditional school, one of our traditional schools, they will be online with their assigned teacher for the first 2 weeks.
Okay.
Or we will,
Just as they were at the end.
yes, or we will provide remote learning through paper packets if that's necessary, so whatever the family needs. And then that would be 2 weeks in or whenever we reopen.
So, go ahead. In response to that, the district is still considering what that, options for education for our students are, and for the board, the governing board has not taken action on what we're going to do then. We are looking, and our goal is to have some type of learning begin on August 3rd on our regularly scheduled date to start school, which would look something like, the distance learning that we implemented for the spring with a difference. But we are exploring that and hope to have that on our next board meeting for the board's consideration with a few more details and about what that would look like so that we could begin school on August 3rd, even though we cannot be in person until at least August 17th. So those considerations have not been worked out. That has not been presented to the board for formal action yet.
Did you get everything answered at this time that you needed?
And everything else. The only comment that I have to make is we're talking about services and stuff. Everything that I've read said this is not transmitted by services. It has to be be done. So,
Or you on the table and I touch the table, don't lick my finger.
So, the only thing, because a lot of great points and answers have been given, I don't have much, that's why I always go last. But I do have a question that perhaps can be answered here. Is the social distancing for the cafeteria time, is that up to the school or is that up to the Southwest Food Service?
Up to the school district.
Okay. And so, within our planning and everything, there's gonna be some kind of, something that comes back and says we can have 55 people, or whatever it turns out to be.
Yes, that will be developed in each of the specific school plans, because, again, every campus is a little bit different.
Right.
You know, I know some of the principals are looking at various areas to be able to hold lunch, not just the cafeteria. Some cafeterias are larger than others, it might be able to accommodate more, so each plan may look a little bit different, but those will definitely be in the reopening plans from each site.
Okay. With that, I have nothing else. Randy has something?
Yeah, I do have another one come up. There was a lot of discussion about, extra maintenance people, some extra bus drivers, some extra staff, whatever, if we needed to have some more classrooms because of, you know, downsizing the classes and that. So a lot of, you know, that could be a lot of extra staff, in here. And so Aaron, this is, basically for you. And I know you're probably working on it. The CARES Act, Coronavirus Relief Fund, the Governor's Emergency Education Relief.
Yeah.
All those being considered for helping that out besides just procurement items?
Yes.
Or can it be?
Well, yes, the CARES Act money, we've got, we'll be bringing that budget to you guys and kind of already use some of the funds for, at our next board meeting. Debbie and I are both working on that. We've received some of that money already. But that is earmarked for some of those things that we have to do. So providing services for some of our students. We have seen some opportunities to provide those services, things with training that needs to be done. But yes, we are looking at various grant funding to potentially help during all of this, because it's not going to be a easy or inexpensive reopening by any means. But a lot of what our staffing is going to be determined by will be how many students are actually returning in person and how many students are going online. So we're going to be doing some shifting and rearranging based upon those numbers. So we're looking at a.
Yeah, and one other thing I did talk to Dr. about was I sure would like to see a qualified nursing type person if either cover the district or something like that. And I know we've got, you know, complications out for, you know, looking for that type of assistance, but.
He asked the question, can you speak it louder? I don't think anybody on the phone can hear either.
Look, turn your head that way, I can't hear you.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I'm just looking to see, I know we're looking for, an employee as a qualified designated health type person with the qualifications that, above and beyond what we've got in our schools today, you know, to either cover the district or at least, you know.
Right, and we have had some conversations regarding that. We used to have an RN on staff. Unfortunately, RNs, LPNs are very hard to come by. And so, you know, potentially looking to contract with somebody even on a part-time basis, for to serve our district. So we are looking into that. More to come, hopefully.
Thank you, Aaron.
Do you have anything?
Good.
Thank you, lady. Appreciate it very much.
Nice, great framework for details.
Do we know if we have anybody that's wishing to go in?
I had the air kicked on, but I
Oh,
was
good,
out.
I
It just kicked, I I know, and I was like, sweating. I'm usually freezing.
Nope.
All right. So we will bypass the call it a public as we have no public
We do though,
to,
maybe, on the,
They just check.
You have to be here and sign up.
oh, okay.
all right, so consent agenda. Does anybody need anything pulled from the consent agenda before we take action? Okay, we entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items for July 1st, 2020 as submitted.
I'll say it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. All right, now we're up to the action item, which is request for approval, Wickenburg Unified School District Reopening Plan 2020-2021.
Just to clarify before, there's no specific dates in here, so there was nothing that needed to change. It's just, so when we're allowed to be in person, this will be in effect.
Yes, this is just approving the guidelines for the sites to build their plans upon for when we are back in person.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the reopening guidelines for Wickenburg Unified School District number 9 as submitted.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries as well. So we are moving on to items for future agendas.
I have a question, Randy brought this up several months ago, and it was the path, at Vulture, over here, Vulture Peak.
Yeah.
Huh? So I didn't know, is that something, it was we're gonna put it on agenda, but it never went on agenda. I didn't know if it was in research, or what the deal was on that.
I can talk with our director of maintenance about that. I know that he had a couple of different individuals come out and take a look at it with some options. We were hoping to use adjacent no, it's coming back to me. We were hoping to use adjacent wave money for that, but it is not eligible for that. So we would have to come up with the money ourselves in order to do that. And so that is why it was placed on hold for now. It's something that we can revisit this year as a part of our capital plan, if it's something that you guys, would like to. I'd have to see, we have quite a bit in our capital plan right now, and I don't know how many more Chromebooks and things we're gonna have to purchase as well. But definitely I can take a look at that.
Well, I just remember from the past, and it,
Right,
and it was
right.
supposed to come up, but it never did. So
And
that-
yes, it was, and then we found out that our adjacent waves monies would not cover.
And that's surprising. I thought that would really qualify.
Nope.
I really did. But perhaps, so yes, I believe in that. That path needs something. Some
Okay.
kind of an alternative.
Sure.
One of the deals, well, no, we're not gonna talk about it, but we do need to get this on a future agenda.
Okay, I will start those conversations back up with Jim.
Right.
And then begin to look at the capital budget and see what we can come up with.
Okay, thank you. All right, announcements and calendar. See those in your electronic device. So questions?
I do have a question.
Okay.
All right. Is the new teacher report and training and all that still happening the
Yes.
same?
Not the same. We're making some modifications to it.
Yeah.
But yes, we will be still doing new teacher induction. I'm not sure, we have to discuss the luncheon. I know that's a really great part of our new teacher induction, but we'll have to work on that.
Okay,
You can't social distance for that one.
but you'll still have that on the 20th,
And we'll begin on the 20th.
yeah, on the 20th, okay.
Is our July 11th training set up,
That's
9 to 12 here?
right here in this room.
It is?
Saturday, July 11th. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the 14th is our regular board meeting,
Yes,
and that's gonna be at 5:30 PM now.
yes. No,
No, not that one.
August.
Always starts
Starts
at
at
9:30.
Okay. And that'll be in the boardroom.
Correct.
Okay.
Anyway, so is this going to be, is that a known number yet?
It will be, well, we have about 6 or 7 new
Okay.
teachers, and then we have some,
Coming from
about
last-
4 teachers who were hired mid-year.
Okay, well, it answers my question. We don't have a chance at our NTI lunch event so far.
No, I wouldn't rule it out just yet.
Okay, all right. Well, you guys have your little talk.
Looking at options for that.
All right,
No.
all right.
Are we lacking teachers?
No.
No.
Okay. All right, so we have all our things here, and we can go to the favorite part of the meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second?
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries, and we are now adjourned at 7:21. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Sure.